Hey guys, Collie C here, and today we're doing a book summary of 3 books that I really find enjoyable. They're short reads. Let me take that back. One of them is actually a very high level book, but they're all connected in a similar way where they all share the same principles. And you've probably heard this said before, but success leaves clues. And as you start to study the successful books that are not only books but anything in life, you start noticing that all these successful people do the same thing. And all these 3 books that I'm about to mention, well, 2 of them specifically have really of the same similar principles, and then the other one is just a great little book that I want to throw in there that will help. This book right here, which again, I'm more of an audiobook listener. It's my favorite thing to do. I do listen to books or I do read books as well, which you need both. And there's no specific right way to read. But for me, I like to do audiobooks because for me, it's like a treadmill. It's forcing you to run and you have to catch up to it to be able to not fall off the treadmill. So when you're doing an audiobook, in order for you to comprehend it, you have to focus. It forces you to focus. And if you're just letting an audiobook play in the background and you're not actually comprehending it, then shame on you. And that's not my method. Some people do that with podcasts and whatnot, but with a book, you want to have intense focus because the idea of a book is you have a lot of knowledge compressed into basically no fluff. And there are books that are fluff, and I hate those books. I'm not gonna lie, to each their own. But if we're looking at a book like Psycho-Cybernetics, it's a very high level. I would rank this as a level 5. And it's good to have the physical and the audio so you can go in there and look at the charts. But for me, you can take notes. For me, audiobook helps me get through these bigger books. And you can always buy one for people and gift it to them. And so let's talk about the main points of this book, which there's a lot. And I'm just going to explain it just a couple concepts. And then it's up to you to really read the rest. Okay? Again, it's a summary, and it's also meant to help you get excited to read it yourself. So for Psycho-Cybernetics, you have, I'm going to draw 2 squares here. I guess technically cubes. Within a cube. Haven't drawn a cube in a long time. Okay, so cube within a cube, or a little square within a big square. The outer square is what's the reality and the boundaries of perhaps your reality, because there are limits to certain things. But then within here, this is your self-imposed limits. And the idea is that the space in between is your potential. And that sounds like pretty simple. But the idea is that we have these self-imposed limits that is holding us back from what we really can achieve. And the book talks about these 2 things, which I want you to know how important this book is. I have dedicated for the rest of my life to read 3 books every day. Or let me explain. So I read the Bible every day, and I swap between Think and Grow Rich and Psycho-Cybernetics. I swap between them. And what does that mean? Well, I go do the audiobook 5-10 minutes a day of Psycho-Cybernetics, and then once it finishes, I switch on to Think and Grow Rich, and I've read these books now about 5 times. Now, I started this a couple of years ago, but I believe they're so important to your foundation of success that's why I'm doing that for the rest of my life. Let me explain. Think and Grow Rich and Psycho-Cybernetics have the same core principles, and you have there's 2 things you should be focusing on for the rest of your life every day. There's 2 things. That's it. 50% should be knowledge. The other half should be self-image. We're going to describe what your self-image is. Here's the interesting part. You will never outperform your self-image. I'll say it again for those in the back. You will never outperform your self-image. No matter how much knowledge you have, you can have so much knowledge all the way up here. But if your self-image is down here, you're going to be capped on how much action you take based on your self-image. Because you may understand it over here, but you don't believe you can achieve it. So it's always going to be capped at your self-image. So it's worth, and there's different people in different situations. Some people they don't have enough knowledge, like myself. I was in a position where I didn't know anything. I was like, dude, I don't understand anything. I don't have any financial literacy, no knowledge about anything in the world. I grew up just around dumb people, honestly, the people that just are beautiful people, but they just didn't study, didn't read. The average person reads one book a year, but that's taking the top people who read 50 plus books a year and the people that read 0, and you're getting a 1. Most people that you hang around might even be traveling at 0, but one book a year on average, which most people don't. But that was my people. The people I was around, they were all 0s. But maybe in your circle, they're all 1s. And maybe in your other circle, they're all 50s. My circle now are like on the 50s, the 40s, the 20s. I've changed that. So for me, it was like I did not have the knowledge, so I needed to increase the knowledge. But I had the self-image. I knew it was possible, but I didn't have the knowledge. But you always hit a cap. You always hit a plateau. So for me, my self-image was pretty high, but at the same time, it was low at the same time. So knowledge was low, self-image was low. I increased my knowledge until I hit the bar here, and I realized my self-image is low. So I had to work on my self-image. So if you work on always increasing your self-image, you will be able to easily use this knowledge and take action and apply it. So that's why I'm going to spend half of my life and half of my day always attacking my self-image, always improving it. You're improving the self-image, you're attacking your limitations, and you improve the image of yourself. Therefore, if you spend all your day listening to information or learning information, you're automatically taking action. There's always going to be those haters that say reading books is not helpful. You should go take more action. But those are the ones that don't understand this concept, because you can't take action without a proper self-image. So your self-image must always be increased and worked on. Otherwise, you can't surpass it. You will never outperform your self-image. So I spend half my time consuming information like a mad dog, reading books. And I also spend the other half improving my self-image. Now, what are some things we can do to improve your self-image? What is the self-image? Your self-image is as you are, nothing more, nothing less. It's who you are now. Then honest look at yourself. That is who you are. A lot of times people compare themselves to other people and they feel insecure. That's not who you are. That's actually a low self-image, because you're comparing yourself to other people. Therefore, you are feeling less about yourself. And then if you feel prideful about yourself, like you're better than other people, that is also not who you are. That's pride, and that is not your self-image either. Your self-image is uniquely you. And there is no such thing as being better than another human being or worse than another human being. You're just who you are, and that other person is who they are. Now, yes, you can improve yourself, but that doesn't mean you're improving yourself, that you're becoming better than they are. You're just becoming a better person, or a better version of you. So if you can be as confident knowing, like, I am who I am and you're not me, I'm uniquely the best version of myself, and you are the best version of yourself, and you can then celebrate other people and not be insecure around people and treat everybody like a human being, because that's what they are. And you're just like, wow, that's incredible. The moment you feel insecure, it's because you're comparing yourself to them. Instead, you just got to be like, wow, that's amazing. Admiration. If you're looking at other people for comparison, that's going to create insecurity. It's going to rob joy. They say that the thief of joy is comparison. But you're probably thinking, well, does that mean I can't look at other people? No, you can, but you got to look at it more for inspiration, admiration. That's different. So that ties into what we're about to talk about, which is the same principles that is in the book of The Power of I Am. And so the Psycho-Cybernetics is a level 5. Power of I Am, I would say, is like a level 1. Pretty easy to read, but you definitely need to read it as one of your basics. It's by Joel Osteen, and they are all connected. So within Psycho-Cybernetics and Power of I Am, it's the power of who you are. And really, it's something called affirmations. I'm just going to say it's affirmations. It's speaking to your subconscious mind. It's viewing yourself, taking time to think about, meditate, if you will, on who you want to become, who you want to become, and you imagine that as if you've already accomplished it. And so that's part of it, is you want to have this visual experience, emotional experience of who you are, which is mainly comes from here. And that puts you in the vibration and the feeling of who that person is, which is you. You imagine it as if it's you. But then there's also a second half of it, which is the affirmational part. And I'll explain this, but your brain is in 2 spots. And this comes from the book Think and Grow Rich. But it's still, like I said, I read Think and Grow Rich and Psycho-Cybernetics. So we'll add this here. And they're all great. And I'm going to go deeper in Think and Grow Rich later with more concepts. But for now, we're focusing on these top 3. But they're in the book. It talks about the conscious brain. This is your conscious brain. And your subconscious brain. Then you got your stick person. This is your action. Okay, this is what you do. Your actions will never surpass your self-image. Your self-image essentially is your subconscious mind. But here's the thing. You can feed information into your conscious mind, and then slowly it drips into the subconscious mind. When you feed that information, it slowly goes into there. Therefore, it's your self-image. You're forcing your self-image to be created, your subconscious mind. Therefore, your action follows your subconscious mind. Therefore, you will never outperform your self-image. You will always perform exactly to what you believe you are. And in the book, Power of I Am, it's essentially doing something that's called affirmations. Which is basically just feeding your conscious mind, and then you do that over and over and over, and you start to believe it. A lot of people call this a delusional. Some people I call it illusional. You're creating an illusion. And a lot of people think that's weird. They think that, you know what, I'm living this illusion and I'm just being delusional. I just got to be closer to reality. And they talk themselves out of that illusional dream or goal of theirs, and they switch it back to reality, and they come back down into that smaller cube because they're matching their self-imposed limitations. But what you should do is you should live in illusion. You should absolutely not accept anything that doesn't match that illusion. And if it doesn't match it, you run away, you get away from it, and therefore your actions are proving to your subconscious that you deserve that thing that you want, because you are rejecting that reality, if you will, or if you can flip it, you're rejecting that illusion of some false reality that you don't accept, because you want your illusion to be your reality eventually. So you live in that illusion until it becomes reality. What are some practical things you can do? Well, it's very simple. I am loving. I am strong. I am handsome. I am blessed beyond all that I can ever imagine. I am rich. I am wealthy. I am a great brother, a great son, great uncle. I am a great friend. I have abundance in my life. I am a fast reader. I am successful. I am a multimillionaire. I have $10 million in my bank account right now. Like whatever it is that you want, I'm strong. I have big biceps. I am incredible husband, loyal. Whatever it is that you want, I have a beautiful wife. I have a loyal wife. I have a great family. I have great friends. I have a great circle. I have great health. The more specific you can be, the better. I'm blessed. I have favor. I expect all favorable outcomes in my life. Everywhere I go, I'm just lucky. I'm blessed. People give me money. Every dollar I spend comes back to me multiplied. I have a lot of these affirmations memorized for my life because, again, when you read these books, The Power of I Am is great because it teaches you, like, our God, when he spoke, he created existence. And we are made in God's image. And if we are like God and we are divine like him, we have God inside us. The Bible says that the tongue has the power of death, life and death, destruction and life. And are we speaking curses to ourselves and to our lives, or are we speaking blessings? Because we are creators. Every single thing you've seen in your life, the phone that's holding, that you're holding in your hand, the camera this video, everything you see right now has been created first in my thoughts, in someone's thoughts. Every building you've ever seen has been created in someone's thoughts first. Then it gets created in real life. God thought about it and then he created and spoke. So the power of your speech is huge. And that's what this is about, creating positive affirmations, having favor, speaking it into existence, not accepting unfavorable outcomes, always having faith over fear. If you have fear, that is faith in the devil. That's fear in the negative spirit, if you will, the negativity. If you have faith, that's believing for hope that is not seen yet. It has not been there yet. You're hoping for something that's not seen. Then it becomes seen when it's created. Beautiful, beautiful book in the foundations that is here. It's also in Psycho-Cybernetics. And with the mini habits, it's also in Think and Grow Rich too. But in the mini habits, we're going to end with this book. Very simple. It will help you get into reading. Let's say you don't even read. You don't know where to start. Maybe this book looks too thick for you. Well, the concept of mini habits is that you do something so easy, so small, that you can do it every day, and you can do it on your worst day of your life. And you do not pass this mini habit. You don't increase it. You keep the mini habit no matter what. Now you can add onto it, but you have to do the mini habit. What's an example? Well, in the book, Mini Habits, they talk about Seinfeld, which is a comedian. And he did kind of what I'm doing here is he wrote every day. He said, I'm just going to write one sentence of a joke. Hello, da 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 da. And he would just write a sentence a day. And every day he would build on his jokes. Sometimes he would write more. Maybe he's like, you know what, one sentence is too easy. Today I'll do 5. And maybe some days he wrote pages and pages, but no matter how, maybe he didn't feel like, he's like, oh dude, I'm tired today. I'm not feeling funny. Then he maybe, again, his mini habit was writing one sentence. In the book, also, there's a guy that talks about push-ups, which I'm going to include some information there about the book, but he does one push-up a day. Now you might be thinking like one push-up is easy. Maybe it's hard for you, but still, one push-up is easy. The idea behind it is like every single day you can do more than one push-up, but you have to do minimum at least one push-up. Not 10 push-ups, not 5, 1. That helped him with every other habit in his life, because on his worst day, maybe he's sick, maybe his stomach hurts, maybe he's like has no energy. Anybody can just do one push-up a day. It's easy. So most of the time though, he felt good. And he was down there and he's like, you know, I'm already on the floor. I might as well just do 20 push-ups, bust out 20 of them real quick, 40 of them. And he just does his push-ups, and then eventually he's got this great, incredible fitness habit because he's like, I just do my 1 push-up a day, and then it always leads to more. He does one day, maybe he does 20 the next, does 40 the next, then he does 1, and then maybe he does 10, and then he's just always improving his push-ups. Same thing with pull-ups. Okay, I'm gonna do 1 pull-up a day. Okay, well, I'm already up there. I might as well do 2. I might as well do 10. I might as well do 3 sets of 5. And you continue. So with reading, it's the same thing. Let's say you're like, I'll just read 1 page a day. Maybe that's too much. Maybe do 1 sentence a day. Well, I'm already reading 1 sentence. I might as well do 2 sentences. You might be thinking, well, do that. How can you complete a book that 2 sentences a day? But if you do it consistently for 365 days, heck, you might even be this far in the book in 1 year. That's still pretty good. Rather than quitting on your habit and going hard and quitting like most people do. Most people underestimate what they can do. Most people overestimate what they can do in a short period of time, and they underestimate what they can do in a long period of time. In this short period of time, they go hard, but then they fall off. What they should have done is they should have just started small and done this. And then over a long period of time, they would have completed way more over time versus doing this quick burst and then being done. It's the same concept of in the fat loss. If you go check out the fat loss course, you're going to see that. We don't focus on these quick 8-week fat loss courses where you just burn a bunch of fat. Most people fall off, they get fat again, they go back to normal. We do a nice steady growth over time. And that's way better. Chip it away. So again, I'm going to emphasize it, whether it's reading a book, whether it's an audiobook, 5 minutes a day, 2 minutes a day. My mini habit is 2 minutes a day. I do 2 minutes a day. Now I've been pushing for 5, but again, my mini habit never changes. It's always, no matter how I feel, 2 minutes. If I'm having the worst day of my life, I have to do 2 minutes. Same thing here, okay? If you're a good reader, you like to read a lot already, maybe you can start with 1 page, but you have to do something you can do every day. And if you can't and you see yourself failing, and you're like, dude, I told myself my mini habit was 1 page a day and I'm not even doing that, that means you aim too high. And you have to decrease it to something that you can absolutely do every day. That's the concept of mini habits. Great book if you're looking to build habits, if you're an undisciplined person. That's what's helped me complete 25 books a year. Because I'm just constantly reading, because every day I have that habit. I have to get my 2 minutes in. And what does 2 minutes usually progress to? It progresses to 5 or sometimes 30 or sometimes 3 hours. It just depends. But it's always 2 minutes no matter what. So I hope this helps you guys. Again, check out these books. I'll be linking the books down so you can check them out on Amazon. And for me, these are just life-changing books that I would not recommend to you if it wasn't something that would absolutely change your life. Call Lucy out.
And acted on as any other data in giving us the answer in the form of objective experience. When someone we know acts, or when we behave in a way that is astoundingly wrong and wonder why, the answer is basically miscommunication with the servo mechanism. The servo mechanism is functioning perfectly, but acting on a severe misunderstanding. In the excellent book, Battling the Inner Dummy, The Craziness of Apparently Normal People, David Weiner and Dr. Gilbert Hefter state, "It is apparent that even the most civilized among us have an inner craziness, a potential for irrationality with which we must contend." Unquote. The computer jargon usually used by computer experts shrugging their shoulders at some wild malfunction is GIGO, garbage in, garbage out. In other words, if neuron channels process enough garbage and link together in a certain way, the outcome or output is garbage behavior.
It's taking longer than they thought. Somebody didn't do what they said. Over time, they get discouraged and think, what's the use? It's never going to work out. But God is called the author and the finisher of our faith. He has not only given you the grace to start, He's given you the grace to finish. When you're tempted to get discouraged, give up on a dream, give up on a relationship, give up on a project, you have to remind yourself, I was not created to give up. I was not created to quit. I was created to finish. You have to shake off the discouragement, shake off the self-pity, shake off what somebody said. If you will keep moving forward in faith, honoring God, you will come into a strength that you didn't have before. A force pushing you forward. That's finishing grace. That's God breathing in your direction, helping you to become who He created you to be. This grace is available, but you have to tap into it. It's not going to do us any good if we sit around in self-pity, thinking about how difficult things are, what didn't work out. Well, my college professor is so hard, I'll never pass his course. Friend, you have the grace to finish. Quit talking defeat and start talking victory. I can do all things through Christ. I am full of wisdom, talent, creativity. I will pass this course. When you say that, finishing grace will help you do what you could not do on your own.
To take action and stick to your plan was never a problem with you. Why this odd strategy worked so well, and I was, and am still, amazed at how everything fits together. And now, here's this book. We're quick to blame ourselves for lack of progress, but didn't do it then, do it now. Result from that same push-up. I read and write every single day because of that push-up. That one push-up was the first step that led to all of these great changes in my life. Every great accomplishment rests on the foundation of what came before it. When you trace it back, you'll see one small step that started it all. Without that one push-up, I'd still be struggling to get motivated to go to the gym and to read and write consistently. That push-up led me to discover this new strategy, which turned into these great benefits. Are you ready to hear the story of the one small action that changed everything for me? How it began. Those aren't the types of results that instill confidence into my head, so I thought about the opposite of a 30-minute workout. Eating ice cream and watching TV would be one opposite of exercise. And then I considered that a full 30 minutes just seemed like such a huge challenge in that moment, i.e. Everest. Another opposite I decided could be the workout's size. What if, instead of this big 30-minute commitment of sweat and discomfort, I did a single push-up? I would have no requirement to do more, just one push-up. It was the true opposite of my Mount Everest workout. I laughed off the idea, literally. How pathetic. One push-up isn't going to help anything. I really need to put in more work than that. But every time I switched back to my first plan, I couldn't do it. After I got tired of failing to do the 30-minute workout, I thought, whatever, I'll do one push-up. I got down on the ground, did one push-up, and changed my life for good. When I got into push-up position, I noticed it was exactly the same as the start to an actual 30-minute workout. I did my push-up, my shoulder popped, my elbows needed WD-40. It felt like my muscles were waking up from a 24-year nap. But I did a few more since I was already in position. Every push-up was an annoyance to my underused muscles and stubborn brain.